The votes are still coming in. The latest projections show Republican Steve Hilton and Democrat Xavier Becerra at the head of the pack, billionaire Tom Steyer in third. Joining me now to break all this down, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten. So, Harry, tell me, this was such a crowded race. How far ahead when we say that Steve Hilton and Xavier Becerra are?
Yeah, I mean, look, here are a couple of key nuggets that I think are so important to keep in mind. Okay, let's just talk about where the race is right now. You got Steve Hilton, he's at 27.7% of the vote. So he's not even at 30%, he's leading the pack. You got Xavier Becerra at 25.4%, and then you got Tom Steyer at 19.6%. Now, a couple of key nuggets I want you to keep in mind. Number one, take a look at this number, and if you can't see it, I'll read it to you. 56% of the estimated vote is in. That's just an estimate, but that means that upwards of 44% of the vote is still remaining to be counted. And historically speaking, and based upon the trends that we've seen with the ballot delivery so far, the later ballots that get counted tend to be more Democratic. So the question is, can Steyer rise as those late ballots get in? Can Hilton hold on to his position? Can Becerra hold on to his position? My guess is Becerra can. If there's one trend we've generally seen in the years is the Republicans tend to fall as we get more of the votes in from California, and the Democrats tend to rise. And I think that was part of the reason why Steve Hilton was saying in that clip that you played, hey, can I keep that position over Tom Steyer remaining in third place?
There was so much talk about this so-called jungle primary. Do you have any sense about turnout?
Yeah, okay. So, you know, if right now we're looking at this, what are we talking about? We are talking about a lot of people that are turning out. I mean, you know, we've seen it in California. Obviously, it's a big state. But we are talking about, what is this? 1.3 million, 1.2 million, nearly 955,000. So we are talking about millions upon millions upon millions of votes. And I think the question is, where can those remaining votes, that 44% that we still have left out, where can Tom Steyer make up that ground? And I'll tell you where I'm looking at right in this area right here. We see a lot of Columbia blue for Xavier Becerra, right? And why is that important? Because the San Francisco area, which is the area I circled on here, that's actually where Tom Steyer is from. So if we are in fact expecting that Tom Steyer is going to make up those votes, it is likely to come from areas like this in and around San Francisco. If Tom Steyer can actually start turning some of this Columbia blue into navy blue for him, hey, then it might be game on.
I like you pointing out San Francisco because obviously there was a race to replace Nancy Pelosi where she backed a candidate that was not able to prevail, at least so far. Can you give me the update on that?
Yeah, I can give you the update on that. Let's see if I can go there. Why don't we go there? We're going to go down, and I'm going to take my pen off, and we're going to go. And what are we looking at? Hey, I clicked it on the right time. There we go. Here we go. California's 11th district. Connie Chan was the person that, in fact, Nancy Pelosi backed. Right now in that top two, Connie Chan is, in fact, in that top two. Now, what's really interesting is the third place candidate right now. That was actually Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's former chief of staff. Now, she did not back him, but he spent a lot of money on this race. And look at this. He is very distant at this point, way back of the pack. But right now it looks like Weiner and Chan going to be the top two. We'll see in the fall whether or not that Chan's actually able to replace Pelosi, whether or not she has the juice in her own district.
Okay, we're done nerding out because I know people want to know about Spencer Pratt and the LA mayor's race. What is the state of play there?
What is the state of play there? Well, why don't I pull it up? Oh, there we go. I got it here. Okay, what is the state of play? We got 58% of the vote, and Karen Bass, the incumbent mayor, a Democrat, though they all run. It's a nonpartisan race. She is into the runoff. She is advanced. We have projected that. She's at 35.8%. The question is, can Spencer Pratt, who is backed mostly by Republicans, he's right now in second place, but I've been keeping an eye on the results, and more of them have come in. And what we've seen is Nydia Rahman, another Democrat, although again appearing on a nonpartisan ballot, has closed the margin as more of those votes have come in. She's now down by what? A little bit less than 8 points. The question is, will the trend that we see, that we expect to see, that is the later ballots being more Democratic, can they in fact allow her to close that gap with Pratt? I can tell you Karen Bass is hoping that she faces Pratt in the fall because the election polling that I have seen suggested she'd be a heavy favorite over Pratt versus Rahman. That would be a very interesting race indeed.
Also, I noticed you saying more Democratic votes, but in a situation between Bass and Rahman, you're talking about someone who ran to the left of Bass. I mean, are there districts and people who are guess would be considered more progressive areas of a California, of LA, that she could benefit from at this point in the game?
Oh, she could absolutely benefit. I was to LA a few months ago. There are definitely some progressive areas out there. And I do think the question is, do those people who were returning those late ballots, were they saying, hey, you know what, Pratt has been rising in the polls, I want to stop him, and the safest way to do that is maybe to vote for Bass, who we think might be able, would easily be able to take him on? Or are they going to say, you know what, I want to keep Bass down, and we know that Bass is higher up in the polls. Maybe we vote for Rahman and try and kick Bass out at the early part of the stage in this round instead of waiting for the runoff.
We'll look out to California if we can here and switch to the governor's race there, which receives so much attention. And right now, again, Steve Hilton, who is the Republican, in the lead. Javier Becerra in second, Tom Steyer in third. The key, of course, in California, it's the top two people in this election, in this primary election that advanced to November. The other key here is that only 56% or 58% counted. There's a chance that Tom Steyer leaps one or both, I suppose, of these people here. But what does this on its face tell you?
Well, what it tells me, it is unlikely that Steve Hilton will grow in terms of his percentage once these additional votes come in, because Democrats, there was a flood of Democratic voting late, a lot of ambivalence about the choice among Democrats, and it broke late. And those are the ballots that will be counted last. In California, if your ballot arrives within a week, they can be counted. So you can expect the Democrats to gain from that and Hilton to lose. So one thing that isn't going to happen, that was a fear, was that among Democrats, was that there'd be two Republicans. When Trump endorsed Steve Hilton, I think he ended that question. But a Trump endorsement in a primary comes with a little bit of a risk in a general election in a state like California, which is overwhelmingly Democratic. And so I think it's likely that he will be paired with a Democrat. It's very likely that Democrat will win. But there's some, Tom Steyer's a billionaire who spent almost $250 million on the race. It helps. He was flaying billionaires, but it helps to flay billionaires when you're a billionaire. You can pay for all those ads to flay billionaires.
Whatever happens, he's going to be okay after this election.
Yeah, I think so.
Just very quickly, give this a second to load here. We can see where the results are right now in the mayor's race in Los Angeles. You can see Karen Bass ahead. We project she will move on to this runoff in November. Who comes in second is still TBD. Now, Spencer Pratt is a Republican here. Neitha Rahman is a Democrat here. To a certain extent, what do you think Karen Bass wants more? Would she rather face the Republican Spencer Pratt, or would she rather face a progressive Democrat?
Well, look, I think she's well positioned here because she is sort of a center left, and she can go both ways. But Pratt, I think, would be her preferred candidate. I think this was the best possible result for her because LA is an overwhelmingly Democratic town. Pratt has gotten a lot of attention as a kind of human expression of rage, and there's a lot of anger in LA about homelessness, about the way the fires were handled. He's not exactly a font of solutions. He's a former reality show bad guy, and I don't think time necessarily is going to be helpful to him. So I think if she's rooting for a candidate, she's probably rooting for him to survive.
It is interesting, though, even though more people voted against an incumbent mayor. That's not something you like to see as an incumbent, but still, this may be the order she is most happy about. David Axelrod, great to see you this morning.
Always good to see you, John.
Take me to California now. They're still counting, so a lot of unknowns at this hour and for likely weeks to come. What's your big take on this so far, and what you think the message could be coming out of this one?
Well, it seems voters are frustrated, right? Voters are frustrated with the overall economy, with the situation as well in California. And, the whole primary setup of this is interesting. You're seeing that particularly on the Democratic side, that voters were being strategic. They weren't rushing to vote. And you're likely going to have more mail-in ballots that are counted now in the days, weeks to come. And what that brings up is potentially the dynamic of a red mirage. mirage. Yes, you have the Republican there that you just saw, Steve Hilton, holding a slim lead here, in this race. However, as those mail-in ballots are counted, many from Democratic voters, are you going to see that be eclipsed? That's something to watch there on the red mirage. And then in the mayoral race, it's been fascinating, right? You had an incumbent facing significant pushback, not only a challenge from, yes, this is a nonpartisan race, but not only a challenge from someone thought to be a Republican, but also a challenge on the progressive side. Also, just fascinating in this race, we're seeing the rise of AI ads as well in our political system. Obviously, when it came to the Republican candidate in the mayoral race, or the candidate thought to be Republican in the mayoral race, those artificial intelligence ads definitely made a splash.
Yeah, he's definitely talked about his Republican tendencies, so we can definitely put it into the
Yes.
into the R category. It's great to see you, Zolan. Thank you so much.